Most people will never reach $15,000 in savings, not because they can't, but because they don't understand what happens when they do. There's a reason Charlie Munger, the legendary investor who turned his first savings into billions, said the first chunk of money is a bitch to accumulate, but that you have to do it anyway. It's not just advice, it's a warning, because what happens after you cross that threshold isn't motivation. It's math, and the math changes everything. Welcome to the financial system. Control the money, control the history. And remember, simple is never easy. Let's be clear about what we're discussing. This isn't about $15,000 as some magical number plucked from thin air. It's about what that number represents. The first real moment when your money starts working harder than you do. Below this threshold, you're running on a treadmill. Above it, the treadmill starts running with you. The psychology of this shift has been studied for decades. Behavioral economists call it the compounding tipping point, the moment when accumulated returns begin to generate returns of their own in amounts you can actually feel. At $1,000 saved, earning 8% returns gets you $80 a year. That's invisible. At $15,000, that same 8% produces $1,200 annually, $100 every month, appearing in your account without lifting a finger. Suddenly, money feels different. It feels alive. But there's something deeper happening here that the self-help gurus won't tell you. The $15,000 threshold isn't just about compound interest. It's about escaping the trap that keeps most people poor. Think about the average person's financial life. They earn money, spend most of it, save a little, then an emergency hits, a car repair, a medical bill, a job loss, and those savings vanish. Back to zero, start again. This is not bad luck. This is the design of a system that needs consumers, not accumulators. The financial system extracts wealth from those who can't hold on to it and delivers it to those who can. At $15,000, something fundamental changes. You have what economists call a buffer, enough to absorb most financial shocks without derailing your trajectory. The car breaks down, you fix it and keep saving. A medical bill arrives, you pay it and keep saving. You lose your job, you have months, not days, to find a new one. The cycle of building and losing finally breaks. And once it breaks, you stop being a participant in someone else's wealth machine and start building your own. History is littered with examples of what happens when people lack this buffer. In the 1970s, ordinary families across the United States and Britain watched their savings obliterated by inflation, not because they didn't save, but because they never accumulated enough for compound growth to outpace rising prices. Their money melted like ice in the sun. In the 2008 financial crisis, households with less than 3 months of expenses saved were the first to default on mortgages, the first to lose homes, the first to see decades of progress erased in months. They weren't reckless, they were vulnerable. And vulnerability in a financial system designed to extract value is the most expensive condition of all. Now, here's where the story gets uncomfortable, because reaching $15,000 isn't just about cutting lattes and canceling subscriptions, the advice peddled by every financial influencer who's never actually struggled. For most people, reaching this number requires confronting an unpleasant truth. Your income determines your ceiling. The average American household saves roughly 4% of its income. At a median household income of around $80,000, that's $3,200 per year, meaning it would take nearly 5 years just to hit $15,000 in savings. 5 years of no emergencies, no unexpected bills, no job disruptions. In the real world, that's fantasy, which means the path to $15,000 isn't through frugality alone. It's through the harder, less discussed work of expanding what you earn. This is where history offers its clearest lesson. In every era, in every economy, the people who built lasting wealth weren't the best savers. They were the ones who found ways to increase their value to others. During the California gold rush, the miners who dug in the dirt went broke. The merchants who sold them shovels, Levi Strauss, Samuel Brannan, became millionaires. During the Industrial Revolution, factory workers saved pennies while industrialists accumulated fortunes, not by working harder, but by owning the systems that others worked within. The pattern repeats across centuries.
Income, not austerity, determines trajectory. So, how do you actually get there? The research on wealth accumulation is remarkably consistent. Step 1. Establish your baseline. Track every dollar for 30 days. Most people who do this discover they're spending 20 to 30% more than they believed on things they don't remember buying. This isn't about shame, it's about data. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Step 2. Automate the gap. The moment your paycheck arrives, a portion should disappear into savings before you ever see it. Behavioral economists call this paying yourself first. The reason it works isn't willpower, it's removing the decision entirely. You can't spend what you never touch. Even $200 a month, automated and invested, compounds to over $15,000 in 5 years at average market returns. Step 3, and this is where most advice fails you, attack the income side. A second stream of revenue, even a modest one, accelerates everything. In the age of the internet, this has never been more accessible. Freelance skills, digital products, rental income, dividend-paying investments, each adds velocity to your savings rate. The difference between saving 10% of one income versus 10% of two is the difference between reaching $15,000 in 5 years versus 3.
But let's cut through the noise and talk about what really matters. Because the $15,000 milestone isn't the destination, it's the doorway. Research from 4-Pillar Freedom demonstrates the mathematics clearly. If you invest $10,000 per year at a 7% annual return, it takes nearly 8 years to reach your first $100,000. But the second $100,000, only 5 years. The third, just 4. The snowball doesn't roll slowly at first and then accelerate. It feels like it's barely moving until suddenly it's unstoppable. The $15,000 mark is where the snowball becomes heavy enough to start gathering real momentum. And this is what the financial system doesn't want you to understand. Because a population of savers, of people with buffers and reserves and compound growth working in their favor, is not a population that needs high-interest credit cards, payday loans, or endless consumer debt. The entire architecture of modern finance depends on your paycheck arriving and vanishing, on you never quite getting ahead, on emergencies forcing you back to zero so you have to start climbing again. Think about how the system is designed. Wages are paid biweekly or monthly, infrequent enough that you must budget, but convenient enough for spending to fill the gaps. Credit is offered immediately to bridge the difference between what you earn and what you're encouraged to want. Savings accounts pay rates below inflation, slowly eroding whatever you manage to set aside. And the financial products pushed hardest are precisely those that transfer your wealth to someone else. Mortgages, car loans, subscription services designed to extract recurring payments from your account like leeches on a patient who doesn't notice the blood loss. The $15,000 threshold is the escape velocity from this gravity. Below it, you're captured. Above it, you begin to orbit free. Now, none of this guarantees success. History is equally clear that reaching a financial milestone is not the same as keeping it. The same behavioral patterns that prevented accumulation in the first place can reassert themselves. Lifestyle inflation, the tendency to spend more as you earn more, erodes wealth as surely as any market crash. The newly comfortable begin to see $15,000 not as a foundation, but as permission. And permission to spend is the fastest path back to vulnerability. So here's the harder truth beneath the harder truth. The $15,000 isn't about money, it's about identity. It's about deciding once that you will not be the fuel for someone else's financial engine, that your labor will compound for your benefit, not theirs, that emergencies will be inconveniences, not catastrophes, that the cycle of building and losing ends here. The financial system was not designed for you to win. It was designed to extract. Every advertisement, every easy credit offer, every payment plan whispers the same message. Spend now, worry later. And millions obey, their wealth flowing upward to those who understood the game early. But the game has rules, and the rules, once understood, can be turned to your advantage. History doesn't repeat, but the math is always the same. Build your buffer, automate your savings, expand your income. And remember, the first $15,000 is the hardest money you'll ever make, and the most important. Everything after it gets easier. That's not motivation. That's mathematics.
If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. Its financial system and history leaves clues. I show you where the money leads.